Have you noticed that you played two characters named Paul who are New Yorkers that get involved in other people's business by no fault of their own?
Yes, I did. And I have a feeling Darren Aronofsky and Charlie, who wrote the book and script, I think that occurred to them as well.
Hello, Mr. Dunn. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Thomas?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time with me. You have no idea how honored I am to do this. Your performance in After Hours is one of my favorite things ever. That it's my favorite Scorsese movie, and your performance is amazing. And your performance is amazing in Caught Stealing as well. So seriously, thank you so much for sharing the time with me.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Where are you in Canada?
Toronto.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So my first question actually kind of involves After Hours. I don't know if anyone's actually asked you this, but I noticed watching the movie. It's really funny. Have you noticed that you played two characters named Paul who are New Yorkers that get involved in other people's business by no fault of their own?
Yes, I did. And I have a feeling Darren Aronofsky and Charlie, who wrote the book and script, I think that occurred to them as well.
Yeah,
Um,
hope so.
quite different look and period in time, but definitely someone caught in the vortex of other people's problems.
Beyond acting, I also want to talk about your director. And there's some great scenes in the movie. And I want to ask you if there's a scene in Caught Stealing that you wish you could have directed. It doesn't have to be one you're in, just any scene from the movie. Which one do you want it direct, and what kind of spin would you put on it to make it your own?
I've never had the opportunity to, direct a violent shootout. Um, but the scenes with Vincent and Liev and the climactic shootout at the banquet and um I wasn't there to see Darren shoot it, but he's just so accomplished and so well prepared. Um, Doing something with that much, operatic and even humorous violence, that's sort of up my alley. I definitely would have. I hope to have a uh, opportunity to,
For sure.
direct a scene.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And director to director to Darren, I'm also curious, he's a genius. Everybody knows this. He's one of the best directors of our time. What is the thing that surprised you the most about working with him that you did not expect going into this?
I've known him for 20 years and we never worked together. But what I gleaned from the productions and the kinds of movies that he did, um, I thought he would be uh, sort of more uh, scary, I guess, more demanding, you know, kind of head fucking with you and, to try to get certain kind of things and, a little bit of an Otto Preminger sort of torture the actor kind of a thing. And, um, and he, of course, was not at all. He was just so even tempered and funny and, let's actors just go and, um, if he lets you try out all sorts of different things and different choices and float off the script if you have the calling and just really really supportive, and it was a really fun and loose set. I think I was just picturing a much darker environment, based on his previous films.
You've played so many eccentric characters throughout your career, but I think there's very few that match this Paul, not Paul Hackett, this Paul. He's just such a wacky character, and you give such a great performance. I'm really curious. A lot of actors that I've spoken to and that I know have different ways of getting into character for these very wacky, unique personalities. Some people have a playlist, some people can just flick a switch. Sometimes it's just saying a couple sentences. For you, what did you do to get into the character of Paul?
I would really like get my energy up. I think, having been I've been living in the East Village for a long time, and I could walk to the set where the bar was.
Mhm.
Um, and from the 80s and the 90s, in those bars, you could buy Coke from the bartender, the same guy who served you the drink could slip you know, a foil across the thing, and you could, buy Coke. And so Coke was really prevalent and in those bars. And I just figured Paul was the fueled on Coke. So I would use that sort of sensory sort of feel of to get my energy up, and where your both your energy is up uh, and your temper is sort of short because Coke also makes you kind of cranky, and um, I would just like a sort of a coked up, burnt out, drink too much sort of attitude, and being a guy of Paul's age, that stuff also wears you down. So I was just um, before every take, I had that, kind of the combat boots and the long hair, and I would just sort of jump up and energize my body and just sort of shake it out, and then walk on camera and just sort of be at that level.
Worked out for the best. Okay, I'm gonna ask a little bit of a spoiler question now. You've had some really great death scenes throughout your career. My favorite one in particular is American Werewolf in London, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna tell you that. And you have a great one in this movie. You go out guns a-blazing, and like you said earlier, Darren gives his actors a lot of freedom to try new things on set. So I'm curious, like how many takes was that scene? How many different things did you get to try? And what was your favorite contribution to that whole moment?
Well, I mean, that was the most, eh, and every time you accept a job, there's always like one scene you can't wait to do, and getting blown away was definitely one of them. Um, and it also a lot of preparation went into that for both us and the Russians, where we had to become very familiar with the guns that we were shooting. So we would go to like a shooting range, and with these, with these guys, these very trained expertise in every sort of weapon you can possibly imagine, and get to be really familiar with it, so it would be second language to, you know, cock the gun, and um, so we did a lot of takes, not excessively, and they were always very high velocity, but the obscenity or the screaming, or the and the yelling and the energy, the words were always sort of different. Um, and then, of course, I would get so excited or so amped up, I would that the gun would jam, at the wrong time, on the pump, shotgun. Probably my fault. So it was like, so we'd have to do takes when the gun jammed, but it was really great. Uh, we were shooting everything right up until there was one shot left, and that we were supposed to finish, and particularly because the next day I was going to Portugal, and then I was supposed to be wrapped on the movie, and it was overtime or whatever, but they couldn't get to it, and um, and it was like the last thing where I'd go in front and whip open the door, and then get blown away, and so they called wrap, and I thought, oh, I'm finally gonna be able to shave and get this mustache off. But I went to Portugal, um, for a film festival, and looked like Paul from the movie all the way through it. And then I came back, and then we did one shot at. We were shooting nights, and now my call time was like at 5 in the morning, and I got out, and first shot of the morning, go out, get blown away, and now I'm over with the movie.
5 a.m. call time. That's rough, but you know what? It was one of the best scenes in the movie, so it's all worth it.
Oh, thank you, man.
You're a New Yorker yourself. You've starred in a lot of movies that take place in New York, and I believe in every movie that New York is in, it's its own character. And I think Darren really highlights that in the way he shoots it, as well as just the set design and the atmosphere around it. For yourself, knowing that city so well, what was the element of it that you really appreciated that Darren put such a big focus on? Even if it's something small or something big for you, what do you think that was?
The an exterior, as I say, I live right near the location where the bar was. And they were shooting in my neighborhood for scenes I wasn't in. And I walked down the street and there was, I just went out of my head, Kim's Video. There was a Kim's Video store next to the exteriors, the frontage of all the restaurants and the bars were all from the 90s. And I was really heartened to see Kim's Video because anyone who's lived in the village and rented movies, that was the place you went to. They were aficionados of every kind of movie. They were what Vidiot's was to Quentin Tarantino in Los Angeles. This was the New York version of that kind of place. So there was a very cool reference there. And then on the other side of the street was another movie being shot of New York in the 50s. And it was the Safdie brother. One of the Safdie brothers was making the movie.
Oh,
So
nice.
you had Kim's Video on one side from the 90s, and then on the other side was New York in the 50s on the same street.
Very cool. That's very cool. And just my final question before I go. I always like asking people involved in movies this. What do you think any movie would be a good companion piece to Caught Stealing as a good double feature? What do you think that'd be?
Oh, uh, the Wild Bunch
Interesting
is
choice. I
Sam Peckinpah. Um, and it was I had one of the great shootout scenes of all time. And was um, and it was a bunch of guys on the run, fighting for their lives.
Interesting.
Um, I think that would be. I think Darren would appreciate that too.
Interesting. I might have to do that when it comes out on digital. Look, Mr. Dunn, thank you so much again for sharing your time with me today. You have no idea, seriously, how much of an honor this is for me. I grew up on your movies. I'm obsessed with After Hours, like I told you. Seriously, your performance in that is absolutely incredible, and your performance is amazing in this, and I cannot wait for people to see it.
Thank you, man. I
Thank you.
appreciate hearing.
Thank you. Thank you again for fitting me into your schedule. I really do appreciate this.
You got it. You
Enjoy the
got
rest
it.
of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Bye bye.